Hello, welcome to Reframing Mindset Podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Concept Books, and this episode I talk about compensation. Because that's the next aspect of it. These are semantics, semantics in the sense that I guess what you realize is that what I realize is that the further you go, it, you're working with the same money, money, but it's given to you in different ways. It's given to you in different ways, and it's a way to incentivize incentivize our way to create incentives to do certain things. Like, for example, taxes. Taxes are created to create incentive for you to do certain things. If you know, based on what I've learned about it, it's basically created um to do it is it's a way to take money to do certain things, but you have certain people that pay lesser than some due to it, due to may a certain tax structure may incentivize create incentive for you to do something. That's basically what mm, that is. So the compensation would just basically be like something that incentivize you to actually do certain things more. What it so it does. So like where I was working, you have various compensation or bonus structure. If you listen to the experience, you have various bonuses that you can get along with your normal pay, and it's just basically you incentivizing you to actually be able to actually do the work well. If you're actually able to actually do the work well, you're basically going to get an extra compensation. But it's one of those things where it wasn't where I was working. It was not unlimited. It was capped at for a certain pay cycle. So you could do a lot, but if you basically maintain the standard, you're basically gonna clock. So it's like you have various like around five different bonus structures, but then if you basically just get it, if you get them all, you get the full payout. But if you only get part of it, you get certain payout and such like that. So there's a cap, but it's incentivizing you to actually thing, do the right thing in certain cases. But in the work what I was doing, there were certain bonuses that that um it was really a bad incentive structure where ideally you want um it's incentivizing you to actually do something, but if you actually try to do it to actually achieve the the compensation, you may be just basically taking shortcuts and basically just do it not doing the best work, not doing the best work to actually get the best outcome. So certain times you may have a incentive payout that is basically kind of more detrimental to the work rather than being helpful. And what I realized was when I went to the new department, the incentive structure was a lot better than the one previous, where I was before, because it was more geared towards the business that we were going into. Something related to my field. So the incentive structure was more towards that. I mean, we just realized that. So what I realized that in the business of science, you can basically create an incentive structure anyway. Anyway, it just basically relies on what you are trying to get. But along with the job training episode, what I mentioned is, what I would implement along with the compliant with the compensation is proper training and also understanding, because in the first department they were actively, you have things like coaching and such like that was actually trying to assist you to able to actually meet those standards. But going through the job training phase, what I realized was the training was being rushed. So the core aspect of it, you did not really get to learn. We because we did not get to learn in depth. We were basically learning those in depth things on the job where we were getting our feedback and stuff. And that aspect was good, but it would not be very effective for maybe someone like me who's basically just doing this job for the first time. You want to actually have a specific thing to actually learn and get good at it from beginning to like a certification in it. But yeah, so in that sense, I guess I could understand what a certification, what the benefits of it is in relation to me. Because you'd assume that, okay. But as I said, what I realized is that if I was to start a business, I I would not I would start with the assumption from zero. You started with that someone who was, even they have the perfect everything, you started from zero. Because what I realize is that the thing that you can learn in school and such, but when you're in the business world, that's a totally different world. You're out here trying to make money or turn a profit. So it's different ways that you have to actually attack the goal. So I understand the compensation structure is a way to actually incentivize, and the other benefit is that, so what happens that you have the same basic pay. So you have the same basic pay and you have that. So the basic pay could be set based budget, on your budget. So you have your the normal company budget, so that okay, I can afford this to pay this amount of employees per year. And then I have this amount of profit. So what happened is that, so say if your base pay is $100 per every 2 weeks for each employee, so you just multiply that by, if you're paying that per um by every 2 weeks, so that would be 2 weeks times two for each month, and then times that by 12 for the year, and that's how much you pay the base salary for all the employees. But then you have this thing where, if certain targets are met, you would actually make a profit. We would actually make a profit of, say, 4 times that pay. So If you look at it, you'll be like, you say like, okay, each employee can actually make us $400 more or $300 more than what we are paying them in in profit, and every 2 weeks. So if they actually execute the right way, so what happens is that where your compensation will come in is you're basically saying, yo, if you're able to actually achieve these benchmarks, we pay you along with your base pay this amount. Because what happened, and that amount could be like, say, $100 extra at the maximum, but you can actually pay less. So you can maybe make like $10, $20 as such. Just make basic marks, because the thinking is, if you're basically achieving certain of these stuff, you're basically making us a profit. And then what happens is that because we're incentivizing them to actually do the right thing to get more pay, then what happens is that you can basically make a profit, because it's a positive generating force. It can positively affect the business. Be like, okay, yes, because you actually hit these marks and these stuff, then the company made this like this amount of profit. So because we make this amount of profit, next year your base salary can actually go up a little bit more. So you can basically make $110 now in this new year, along with the same compensation compensation plan. Because what happened is that within with us making the profit, we can make the investment to make the things more efficient, and then you actually be like, boom, we made that positive thing now. So it's like you're saying, we made a positive investment, and we use a profit to make profitable investment, and then with the same incentive structure now, then you're actually able to make the same amount of profit in less time, because you're doing it with better tools. So you're making the company even more profit now, because you're using better tools. So because we're doing that now, you incentivize the right thing, then you basically compensate them positive feedback. Then you make the company makes profit, reinvestment job easier. They're doing more. Then you can actually reward with more pay, and that's how the positive cycle goes. So I guess I understand now what a compensation would be used for. I guess that's how I use it in it. So that's basically for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for our next episode. Mhm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
The last and the exiting of the company, the last pay and such. Because what happened was that the last pay, boom, it's typical. It's typical like normal pay. But what happened was that what was included, if you listen to the episode, and I talk about all the stuff that I'm lacking with the being in a company, vacation days. So unfortunately, I did not get to use the vacation days. But what happened was that I actually got used. I got those days paid off. Um, I got those days, I should say, in pay when I actually exited the company. They actually paid me for those days, like I was actually working those days. So that was actually extra stuff that was on the payment for those days. And I guess that is typical. I guess it should be